David, a shepherd in Bethlehem, was just an ordinary boy, but God had chosen him for something extraordinary. David played the harp in the fields, praising the name of the Lord in the quiet of nature. His music brought joy to God. Young David tended to the sheep in the fields, enjoying his time with God. With a shepherd's staff in his hand, he carried great faith in the Lord. Samuel inspected David's brothers to find the one to anoint as king. However, God had not chosen them. Samuel anointed David, declaring him as God's chosen one. David humbly accepted the moment. "I come to you in the name of the Lord Almighty." David slung the stone, striking down Goliath. The victory of faith was delivered through David's hand. The mighty Goliath fell to the ground, struck by David's stone. The people of Israel rejoiced and praised David's victory. King Saul felt jealous of David's rising popularity. He began to fear that David might threaten his throne. Fleeing from Saul's jealousy, David escaped into the wilderness. Even in danger, he trusted God along his journey. David hid in a cave, escaping from Saul. Though he had the chance to kill Saul, he chose forgiveness in obedience to God's will. David showed mercy to Saul, holding up his robe to prove that he had not harmed him. David was crowned as the king of Israel in Jerusalem. The people celebrated his reign with joy. David planned the construction of the temple for God. His heart was filled with deep reverence for the Lord. David felt a deep conflict when he saw Bathsheba from the palace. An internal struggle began in his heart. Prophet Nathan told David that God had pointed out his sin. David fell into deep remorse. David knelt before God, deeply repenting for his sins. He pleaded for God's mercy. David's son Absalom leads a rebellion, forcing David to flee. Absalom eventually dies, and David is overcome with grief. As David ages, he passes the throne to his son Solomon, advising him to follow God's will.